is Ingrid de Groot and I have dermatomyositis. Besides being a patient, I'm also a patient research partner and a patient advocate. Recently, we, the people with myositis, are being bombarded by snippets of publications, by promising news flashes and screaming headlines regarding CAR T-cell therapy. Is that a good thing? Yes and no. Yes, because many people with myositis are desperately waiting for an effective and a long-lasting treatment, and this CAR T-cell thing may be just that. We all know that hope springs eternal, but that makes us also very vulnerable. And that is why this trend is not just all a good thing, because most people do not exactly know what we are talking about here. And in patient groups and on social media and in in-person meetings, the topic is really hot, which is great because we really need to share those opinions, share those hopes and address those concerns. And of these, we hear many of them overlapping as well. Because what are we exactly talking about here? It might be working in cancer, but myositis is not cancer, is it? What are the safety risks? What are the risks in the long run? We realize no one can tell at the moment because most patients with myositis have only recently been treated. Are there side effects? What exactly is involved here? Are we talking just infusion therapy here? And it is very, very hard to find lay information, and we do not even know if this information is reliable or not. And that is a worry in itself, because we all want the same thing here, and that is offering patients with myositis the best of care and maybe even a cure. And treating patients requires mutual trust and shared decision making. But as things are now, many patients feel not sufficiently equipped and confident enough to make such a crucial and significant decision about this potentially life-changing treatment.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to record this video. We have increasing interest in this area, and we've been exploring a number of cellular therapy trials in the context of autoimmune diseases at our institution, one of which is set to commence soon. Our institution is co-located with the Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre, which actually hosts Australia's largest cancer immunotherapy research program, and so we have access to significant resources and subspecialty expertise in this regard. Nonetheless, we face a number of challenges. Our primary challenge is that our rheumatology unit is relatively small and we lack infrastructure required to conduct clinical trials independently. And thus we are required to run our trials under other units where staff may have limited familiarity with our specific diseases. With regards to the trial protocols, we have concerns about the lymphodepletion regimens typically required and the potential associated toxicity. And another specific challenge that has been identified is the need to wean DMARDs and corticosteroids for a period of time prior to lymphodepletion, which increases the risk of flare during that time. There's some apprehension about the potential toxicities of cellular therapies, such as cytokine release syndrome, neurotoxicity, but as well as the potential unknown long-term effects, such as secondary malignancy. And these risks may be considered less acceptable in the context of rheumatic disease compared to malignant disease, for instance. So as a unit, we're inclined to explore cellular therapy trials that have been designed to be less toxic. Another issue that we have faced is the ever-increasing number of trials in this space, and we're frequently approached by groups offering CAR-NK or CAR T-cell trials, and navigating the relative merits of these options is complex. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I would like to share my hopes and concerns for CAR T therapy. According to previous reports, patients with anti-synthetase antibodies who had poor responses to multiple drugs might be favorable candidates for CAR T therapy. In addition, anti-MDF5 positive Japanese patients frequently develop severe lung disease, leading to devastating outcomes. I hope CAR T therapy will overcome those intractable diseases. In Japan, the feasibility of CAR T is limited to specialized institutions. and is currently only approved for the treatment of hematological disorders such as B-cell leukemia and lymphoma. In addition, the medical cost is extremely high. In the future, we need to develop a huge infrastructure, including specialized doctors, budgets, and dedicated equipment for autoimmune diseases. As a new treatment, we still need more data regarding safety and long-term outcomes of CAR-T. We need to share information on CAR-T with collaborators across the world and identify patients who are suitable for CAR-T therapy. Thank you.
Few problems to solve initially. First, establishing a clinical trial relationship with the hematology and the bone marrow transplant unit in our university. And finally, they allowed me to choose one trial, and we were approached by many, and I was confused. Should I go with an autologous versus allogeneic CAR-T product? Should I go with a traditional CAR-T or a CAR-NK? Or some of the newer products. Also the option of off-the-shelf products, which does not need any ablative chemotherapy before the CAR-T. So many choices which are confusing. Then I was also not aware of the basket trials, which has scleroderma, myositis, and vasculitis together. By the time I became aware of that, my scleroderma colleagues already went with another trial. I wish we had chosen a basket trial so that we could all collaborate and use the resources more wisely.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Kunal Chanwar. I'm a clinical immunologist and rheumatologist from India, and I'll share my point of view regarding the challenges CAR T-cell therapy trials might face with myositis in a country like India. The first and foremost is regarding the infrastructure and logistics for these trials. Limited specialized facilities are available in this country, and even regarding the technical expertise that is needed for CAR T-cell therapy, there are limited experts that are there. Regarding specialized equipments, cold chain maintenance, interdepartment coordination, and follow-up planning is still not that easy in our country. There are financial barriers and access and equity issues. Since we know these diseases affect the disadvantaged populations the most, there are excess concerns that we might not be targeting the patients who actually need CAR T-cell therapy the most, and there are concerns regarding high base therapy costs, hidden costs, and out-of-pocket expenses that are there with this therapy. There are regulatory issues since the current CAR T-cell trials are designed for cancers, and the regulatory framework is again for cancers to ensure that we have a regulatory framework in place for autoimmune rheumatic diseases is essential. There are perception barriers. These include that this is a therapy predominantly directed to cancers, and if we use it for autoimmune diseases, what implications it might bring about. The concerns regarding post-CAR T-cell therapy, CAR T-cell leukemia is again an issue, and to ensure that we have effective therapies in the long term, a lot of planning and interventions from all stakeholders is needed. Hopefully, we'll have good effective CAR T-cell therapy trials in this country soon. Thank you.
To live a normal life with myositis over the last 20 years and was recently approached to take part in a CAR-T trial. While it's very tempting to have the possibility of never having to have a regular infusion of IVIG or rituximab again or any other kind of medications and to return to a more normal life, I declined for many reasons. The main concern is that I don't think we really know how this works in patients like me. Will it really work in the long term for my specific type of myositis? Will I cope with the preconditioning therapy, or does this already reset my immune system? Will my immune system recover without any long-lasting effects? The known risks and management of CRS and ICANS also terrifies me, despite the medical knowledge that I have. And I know that the cases so far have been very positive, reflecting remission up to a few years and low-grade AEs, but I still feel that we are very much taking a gamble here with the patients that we are trialing this on. Such concerns may not be fully understood or fully explained to a patient who might be very weak and vulnerable at the time that they are approached to take part in such a trial. And I do suspect that sometimes desperation or even sometimes misconstrued promises of a cure may drive some patients to agree to put themselves at unnecessary risk. While I'm very happy to see such strong interest in the industry and the community to find a way to cure myositis, on one hand, I know we do need to study this, but I do fear that the recent high-speed acceleration in trials is really pushing all of us in the community to learn how to fly before we even learn how to crawl and walk. So I think we do need to work together as a community to really address all these questions and difficulties before we start to test things on patients.